Hey folks, my name is Nathan Johnston. Welcome to lecture 13 of vector calculus, which is all about flow lines. Okay, so what a flow line is if you've got a vector field sitting in front of you, what happens if you drop a particle into that vector field? In particular, like what path is it going to start following, assuming that it follows the vectors of that vector field? Okay, that path that it's going to start following, that's a flow line of the vector field. Okay, so let's write this down a little bit more formally. Let's do proper mathematical definitions. So suppose you've got some vector field f. It's going to, from whatever its domain is, to Rn. Okay, its domain is just some set inside of Rn. Okay, then a flow line of that vector field, it's any path with the property that x prime equals f of x of t, okay? Or maybe read maybe in a more human way, the velocity of the path just equals the vector field at that point, okay? So wherever the particle currently is, that's this x of t in here, wherever it currently is, well, where's the vector field telling it to go, okay? That's what f of x of t is. Well, that's where it goes. That's what the velocity is, okay? So wherever the vector field is telling the particle to go, that's the way it goes. That's the defining property that flow lines have. Okay, so like how to think about this is like just reading that in words. The velocity of the path, it's determined by the vector field. The velocity of the path is the vector field at that point. Okay, so like sort of a schematic picture here is if I've got some path in a vector field, like these arrows are sort of indicating that it's in a vector field, those are the vectors of the vector field, then at any single point along that path, if I say, okay, what's the vector field at this point? Okay, well, it's this vector, okay? And now, okay, what's the velocity vector at that same point? Well, also pointing up here. Oh, yay, that's a flow line, okay? If that happens everywhere, that's what a flow line is, okay? If I say, what's the vector field doing here? Pointing off to the right, okay? And what's the particle doing here? What's its velocity vector? Also pointing off to the right. Great, that's what should happen on a flow line. Okay, so let's go through some more concrete examples to play around with this idea. And what we're hoping to do in this video is talk about, okay, if I have a vector field, how can I verify whether or not this thing over here that I have is a flow line? And maybe more generally, if I have a vector field, how can I find its flow lines? Okay, but let's walk before we can run. Okay, let's talk about this example here. So this is a scalar field that we've seen a couple times previously. F of xy equals x squared y plus 3y. And remember from last video, to every scalar field, there's an associated vector field, which you can get just by taking the gradient of it. Okay, so we're going to be talking about what are the flow lines of this gradient field, the vector field that's the gradient of this function. In other words, the vector field whose x coordinate is the x partial derivative of this, 2xy, and whose y component is the y partial derivative of this, so just x squared plus 3. Okay, what do the flow lines look like for that? And to figure this out, I want to remind you of some things that we saw about this particular gradient field in previous lectures. Okay, we talked about what its contours look like, and they look something like this. Okay, and if you remember things from multivariable calculus, remember that the gradient of a scalar field, it's always perpendicular to the contours. Okay, and well, what is a flow line of a gradient field? A flow line is, well, it's a path that's always going in the same direction as the vectors, in the direction of the gradient vector in this case. Okay, so if the gradient is perpendicular to contours, so must the flow lines be. Okay, the flow lines are perpendicular to the contours as well. And this is true for any gradient field. Okay, if you draw the contours of the scalar field, the potential function, okay, and then draw curves that are perpendicular to them everywhere, that's what the flow lines look like, okay? And I mean, like, a couple things to be careful here. Like, this is only true for gradient fields, so that you have a potential function, so that you have contours, okay? But it is true for gradient fields and contours in general, okay? And the nice thing about this is I don't need equations for these flow lines or anything here to be able to sketch them. I can figure out qualitatively what these flow lines look like without doing any computations whatsoever. I just trace paths that go through all the contours at right angles, and that gives it to me. Okay, let's do a more computational example. Okay, so let's again return to a vector field that we've seen before. Okay, so this time it's f of xy equals y negative x. And remember, we sketched this vector field in the past. Okay, so at the top, it had arrows pointing to the right. At the right, it had arrows pointing down, and so on. Okay, and we sort of argued that it kind of looked like this was spinning around. It kind of looked like a vortex or whirlpool or something like that. Like I imagine, like if I drop a particle or a ball or something up here, then the vectors are pointing to the right, so it's going to go this way. Now they're pointing down a little bit, so it's it's going to start curving down. And sort of if I look at its behavior as a whole over some long period of time, it looks like it's going to just spin around. I guess that, oh, maybe the flow lines are circles. Okay, and let's verify that. Let's show that any circle, so any curve of the form a times sine t, a times cos t, that really is a flow line, regardless of what the radius a is. Okay, and how do we verify this? How do we check whether something is or is not a flow line? Well, what you do is you just go back up to the definition of a flow line, right? On the left-hand side, you have the velocity vector x prime, and you want that to equal f of x of t, okay? So just compute both sides, okay? Compute the velocity vector x prime, so just take the derivative of each entry. So derivative of a sine t is a cos t, derivative of a cos t is negative a sine t, fine. Now the right-hand side in the definition of a flow line, the right-hand side was vector field applied to x of t. And so for this, all you do is you go to your vector field y negative x, you plug in a sine t for your x coordinate and a cos t for your y coordinate. Replace the y's with a cos t, replace the x's with a sine t, and you get a cos t, negative a sine t when you do that. And then if you squint really hard, oh yeah, those are equal to each other. Great. That's what it means to be a flow line. Like, that's it. Okay, the fact that these two are equivalent to each other, that means, yes, that really is a flow line. Okay, maybe one thing that I want to note about this example before I go on to a more complicated one here is that you'll notice that I parameterize this a slightly different way than I usually parameterize the circle. Usually when I'm parameterizing a circle of radius a, I do a cos t, a sine t, and this time I flipped it around. The reason for that is usually when I parameterize circles, I parameterize them going counterclockwise. Here, with sine first and then cos, it's parameterized going clockwise, which I need. I need the direction of motion of the flow line to be the same as the direction of motion of the vector field. So that's why I made that change there. Okay, let's go through a bit of an uglier example now. Let's look at the scalar field f of xy equals x squared y plus 3y. This is the same scalar field that we saw about a page ago. And then we're going to look at the gradient field of this. Okay, so the vector field associated with the gradients of this scalar field. Okay, and we're going to talk about what the flow lines are. And I claim that the curve y equals root x squared over 2 plus 3 ln x, I claim that that curve is traced out by a flow line of this gradient field. Okay, so how could we verify that? Okay, so I want to do basically the same thing that I did up above. Okay, I just want to compute left and right hand side in that definition of a flow line. Okay, so I'm going to start off with what's the velocity vector? What's x prime of t? But before I can get to that, I have to have, a path, right? I've got to have an x of t. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, here's the curve. What's the path that traces it out? I'm just going to parameterize it in sort of the usual way. I'm just going to say, okay, x, I'm just going to call that t. Okay, and then the y entry is just, well, the same thing with all the x's replaced by t's, okay? And now if I let t range over the domain of this function, of this curve, then, this path down here is going to trace out exactly that curve. Okay, then what's the velocity vector? Well, just take the derivative of both entries here, right? T becomes a 1 when I take its derivative, and this thing over here, you get some ugly expression that you need a little bit of chain rule, right, for, right? Like this part over here, that's just coming from the chain rule. Okay, so that's my velocity vector. That's the left-hand side in the definition of a flow line. Okay, so if it's really a flow line, I want the right-hand side to equal the same thing. And the right-hand side is big F of x of t, right? It's the vector field applied to x of t. It's the vector field at the position vector x. Okay, and so what is my vector field? Like, what's big F? Well, here it is. It's the gradient field, right? It's the gradient of whatever scalar field I'm talking about. So this x squared y becomes a 2xy when I take an x partial, and when I take a y partial, all the y's just go away because they're all y to the power 1. And so I just get x squared plus 3. So that's my vector field, and now I just apply this to this path up here. In other words, everywhere I see x in this vector field, I replace it by t. Everywhere I see a y in this vector field, I replace it by root t squared over 2 plus 3 ln t. Okay, and when I do that, I get this expression down here. Okay, this is my vector field at the position specified by the path. Okay, now, if this path x here really were a flow line, then what would happen is this expression here and this expression down here, they would have to be the same thing, right? That's the definition of a flow line, and those are not the same thing. Okay, so maybe I'm thinking, oh shoot, did something go wrong? Like, is there a problem with this? Maybe this really isn't a flow line. And yeah, like, x is not a flow line, but if you read the question really carefully, we weren't asked to show that this x was a flow line, right? A flow line is a path, not a curve. Okay, this is not a flow line, but the curve traced out by it is traced out by a flow line. In other words, it's possible to reparameterize x to get a flow line. And like the particle, it's just going to move along the same curve, but faster or slower at different spots. Okay, and the way that you can see that, the way that you can see that the curve is traced out by some flow line is notice that these two vectors here, yeah, they're not equal to each other, but they are scalar multiples of each other. Okay, in other words, this x prime and this gradient of f at x, they're scalar multiples, so they're always pointing in the same direction. It's just their lengths are wrong. Their lengths aren't equal to each other. Okay, if I take this gradient vector and I multiply it by this scalar multiple, then actually I get exactly this gradient of f applied to x of t. Okay, so those two vectors, they're always pointing in the same direction. So in other words, like on this curve, yeah, the vector field is always going with it. It's always pointing in the direction of the curve. Unfortunately, it's just not it's sort of not pointing with the same like amount of force as it should for this parametrization to be right. Okay, but the curve itself, yeah, the curve is traced out by a flow line. Okay, great. We can verify that things are or are not flow lines. How do you actually find them, though? Okay, so if I just give you some vector field and I say, yep, find the flow lines of this. And I mean, there might be some special cases where you can do this, but I mean, in general, finding flow lines is an extraordinarily difficult problem that we're just not going to do. Okay, we're going to gloss over it, and we're going to say, that's a trick for a different class. Okay, that's a trick for a differential equations class, actually. Like if you look at the definition of a flow line, you need velocity vector equals vector field at that path. Like write that out in terms of the components of the various functions, right? If I say, okay, my velocity vector, or sorry, my path x here, I'm going to call that x1 of t, x2 of t, all the way up to xn of t. Okay, so when I plug that into f, I get something like this. Those are scalar functions now. And similarly, f, that's a vector function, so it has coordinates f1 of x, and then f2 of x, all the way down to fn of x. Now, if I write this whole thing out in terms of entries, like what's going on here is I've got, okay, the derivative of the first entry over here, so x1 prime equals the first entry over here, so f1 with all of these scalar functions plugged into it. And then x2 prime equals f2 with all these things plugged into it, all the way down to xn prime equals fn with all these things plugged into it. This is a system of differential equations, which, I mean, in general, we're not going to be able to solve. Like that's an extraordinarily difficult thing. It's hard even if n equals 1. If you just give me any differential equation, you say, okay, derivative of this function equals some function of the function and expect me to solve that, like that's an entire course. That's an intro DEs course right there. Okay, just in the n equals 1 case, and there's still tons of differential equations that you're not going to know how to solve after that course. This is too hard. We're not going to do it. Finding flow lines is a beast. Okay, but you can at least verify them using the tricks that we saw up above. Okay, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. We're going to go on to vector line integrals next class, so we'll see you then for that.